Today on Sports Central, we'll be going over a college football game preview and prediction on one of the big matchups coming up in the Big Ten in Week 11 of this 2020 season, and that's going to be between Wisconsin and Michigan. And it's been interesting starts to the seasons for both of these teams. Of course, you got Wisconsin on one side; they're 1-0. However, they've had to skip the last two games for them because of COVID positives around their team. So Wisconsin has not played in a couple of weeks, but it looked really good in their win against Illinois back a few weeks ago. As far as it goes for Michigan, however, they're 1-2, looking like one of the bottom teams in the Big Ten East right now, and it just has been a messy season so far for the Wolverines, and they can flip that around with a win here, that is for sure. So for Michigan, this is going to be a crucial game moving forward, especially if they're wanting to have a good postseason position. And we're going to be going over a full preview and prediction on this game here today, starting out with your team trends. Wisconsin beat Illinois a couple of weeks ago, 45-7. That's the only game that they've played so far this season. Of course, once again, Wisconsin had to skip last week's game against Purdue, and then they had to skip their game on the road in Lincoln against Nebraska. So they've had to miss 2 games in a row. And it also means if they miss this game too, Wisconsin is actually ineligible for the Big Ten championship. So it's kind of like blackmailing Wisconsin right now by telling them that they need to be playing, because if Wisconsin misses this game as well, let me remind you, they're out of the Big Ten championship game. For Michigan, though, they lost to Indiana last week, 21-38, and of course, Indiana is looking like a great team this season so far. They've got Michael Penix, a quarterback, who I think is a definitely underrated quarterback that no one's really even talking about. And I think by the time we're done with this season, a lot of people are going to know who Michael Penix is. But for Michigan, just a rough game there. 21-38 was their final score. Michigan ended up losing that one by 17. But in the end, I think Michigan still has a good chance to put up a good season. It's just you can't take losses like that. But for the winning streaks of both these teams, Wisconsin has a 1-game winning streak, obviously, because they're 1-0, and they're ranked 13th in the nation right now. Meanwhile, for Michigan, they're 1-2 with a 2-game losing streak. Of course, they won their first game against Minnesota. However, ever since then, it's just kind of been downhill for Michigan. So they're just looking to possibly turn this thing around against Wisconsin, because, I mean, having a 1-3 start for Michigan would be something that is definitely worrisome, especially for Jim Harbaugh, their head coach. I'd say Jim Harbaugh is definitely on the hot seat right now as the head coach of the Wolverines, because, I mean, for him to have a 1-2 start, and considering he's having a tough time even making it to a good bowl game in recent years, especially after the 2019 season, it's just kind of concerning for Jim Harbaugh right now. He's got to do something quick, or else he's going to be out of Michigan. The game's going to be on Saturday, November 14th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern in Ann Arbor. So that's going to be the home team for Michigan here. Spread currently says Wisconsin by 1.5. ESPN FPI has got Wisconsin 87%. Vegas prediction, however, is going really close on this game, saying 31-29 for Wisconsin. So all three of our sources here are saying Wisconsin. The ESPN FPI is really heavy on the Wisconsin side right now. Of course, these are only opening spreads, so that could change as the week goes on. But Wisconsin, 87% by the FPI. That is really surprising, especially in comparison to the spread and the Vegas prediction, which are both predicting it to be within a couple of points. But yeah, ESPN FPI is going around and saying, yeah, Wisconsin's going to win it by a couple of touchdowns. But I do expect this game to be a close one. I think Michigan is going to have a lot of fight going into this matchup, considering how big of a one it is for this Wolverines team that's had a bad start. But here's your stat comparison for this game. Of course, Wisconsin's only played 1 game, so these are your stats through the Illinois game. But of course, they had 45 points per game, 7 points allowed. 248 pass yards a game on average, 182 rush yards. They got 87 passing yards allowed, and then 131 rushing yards allowed. For Michigan, they got 31 points per game right now, 29 points allowed. They got 289 pass yards on average, 140 rush yards on average, and 287 pass yards allowed, and then 124 rush yards allowed. So all around for Michigan, really their stats are not terrible. I mean, 289 pass yards a game is really a pretty good stat. I mean, 140 rush yards, that's pretty good as well. So for Michigan, this offense is actually working halfway decent. It's just the defensive side that's really bad for Michigan right now. 287 passing yards allowed a game. Yeah, you can't really win when you're having to allow nearly 300 passing yards in a matchup. So yeah, that's something that Michigan definitely has to fix up if they're going to beat Wisconsin here, which Wisconsin, if they got Graham Mertz at quarterback, he performed extremely well in that matchup against Illinois in the first week. So if Graham Mertz is able to play in this matchup, which I expect him to, yeah, the Michigan passing defense is going to have to do a lot better if they think they're going to beat the Badgers this week. Here's some key points for this one. Wisconsin is back from a 2-week bye because of virus concerns. Once again, it's just been kind of a 2-week bye for the Wisconsin team because of all the COVID positives. But Michigan is definitely off to a rough start, and they look to flip the momentum around this week. If they win this matchup, that could be a huge a huge turnaround and a huge motivation factor for Michigan because, I mean, yeah, this would be a huge win for Michigan. Wisconsin is a top 15 team. They're looking really good right now, and considering how Wisconsin is viewed by many right now, I mean, this could be a major win for Michigan if they can get a win here. But yeah, why this game is crucial, once again, we've already gone over it a couple times. But yeah, for Michigan, especially, another thing is Jim Harbaugh. Once again, I mean, he's definitely on the hot seat right now. And if he does not get a win here, and if he starts Michigan off 1-3, I mean, there's reason to believe that Jim Harbaugh could possibly be released in the middle of the season. Like, there's a possibility that we do see that if things are not looking good for Michigan. So you got to watch out for that as well. Like, Jim Harbaugh, I mean, we saw him over the past couple of seasons. I mean, I feel like if Michigan was going to have a great season, possibly a college football playoff contending season, it would have been last year, 2019. They had Shea Patterson, a quarterback, all around. They had so much talent returned from the 2018 season. And in 2019, they were just looking like a team that could possibly make the playoff. Like, I think I even predicted them to make it into the playoff. And for Jim Harbaugh not to be able to lead this team past Ohio State and teams like that, I mean, yeah, Michigan's a team that's really struggling right now. And I don't know if they're going to be able to do that with having Jim Harbaugh at coach. So, yeah, it's something you got to watch out for in 2020 is Jim Harbaugh. So it's very crucial for him and this Michigan team, and it's very crucial for Wisconsin if they're wanting to make it to the Big Ten West champion or make it to the Big Ten championship. Because I mean, the Big Ten West is wide open right now. You got several teams up there that are definitely gunning for it, and I think it's definitely possible that we see a team other than Wisconsin make it this year. So you got to consider that as well. But yeah, that being said, here's what I'm predicting for this game. I think your halftime score is going to be Wisconsin lead 21-14. Final score is going to be 38-28. We're going to see the Badgers get the win here, and Michigan will be starting 1-3. And the main reason why I kind of went back and forth on this game was because Michigan, I just don't see Michigan starting off 1-3. Like we saw Iowa last week, they were 0-2. They just completely destroyed Michigan State. They had a huge motivation. They did not want to go 0-3. And honestly, that could be the same situation here for Michigan. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the Wolverines get the win here. But I've got Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin, after how they played in their first game against Illinois, they looked really good there. And especially if Graham Mertz comes back and plays the way that he did, I could see Wisconsin winning this one pretty easily. Probability is going to be 60% towards the Wisconsin side. Final score 38-28. We're going to see the Badgers get the win over Wisconsin and Ann Arbor on Saturday. But do them know your thoughts and comments below on this matchup. Let me know your score predictions, all of that down below. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that, and all support is appreciated greatly. And then again, thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central, and I'll see you all later.